some bunnies with a Badooka dunk.
Way downtown. Bang! Bang!
Mama, there goes that man.
Welcome to a Tribe Called Swish, another episode. This time is just me and Kev from Ohio. Again, running 2-on-1 breaks, man. How you doing today?
Doing good, my brother. You know what I mean? We like white man can't jump.
For sure. As always, we're brought to you by Southern Edge Beverage Company. Like, subscribe, share. Don't be ahead of your whole life. So look, we're going to get right into it, man. Last night was some good basketball, which normally doesn't happen on Sundays, especially in the fall. Sundays is really NFL time. But the Sixers versus Lakers, that game, I found that really interesting. Like, we finally saw the best of LeBron that we could possibly see. I think he had 28, 8, 9. He scored like 10 straight points in the fourth quarter. And the game was good. But what I really want to get into is just the difference between youth and experience. Like what I saw down the stretch, I saw Tyrese Maxey take bad shots. I saw the Sixers unable to get into their sets because no one was able to settle them down. Yeah. And then I saw Luka and LeBron get the Lakers exactly in the position, and LeBron took over. Shot after shot after shot, hand in his face. And so how big of a gap is that you see when you look at teams like the Sixers who are young and talented with, when you look at Maxey, you look at VJ, even though they got Paul George and Embiid, but they're kind of on the tail end of their careers, but the leaders are really the youth. How do you look at those teams like that when they stack up against a team like the Lakers?
Yeah. You're right. It's an interesting dynamic. Sometimes it's like you can be ready for the moment and being poised in the moment is two different things, right? And I feel like, what we saw with Luka and Bron, you saw so much repetition, so much confidence, and it kind of reigned supreme. Whereas Maxey is an ultra confident guy, but sometimes the motor just has to be slowed down a bit. And then you mix it in with some experience. Then you mix it in with inactivity because PG-13, he's still trying to catch his rhythm. Joel, I feel like he doesn't even play with the type of piece one would want to play with because it has so many nagging injuries. I can just imagine what that feels like, one little bump, and now all of a sudden your mind is in the stratosphere like, oh, am I hurt again? So it's just tough. So I think to that point, we saw a whole bunch of things, but you also saw how in year 23, the king is still the king, He may not be able to give you that effort nightly, and it's okay because you're in year 23, but at times, he's going to show you why he's still one of the greats, and it was just a pleasure to see.
Yeah, and look, we've talked about this. I like LeBron. I am not the biggest LeBron fan. I probably enjoy LeBron more this part of his career than I did early on, and that's just probably because I like when athletes have kind of like stripped away the media training and just be themselves. I think he's done it because he's led pretty much a perfect media life outside of the decision, which is debatable. But a perfect media life, and so now he's in that don't give a fuck portion of his life, his career, that old man, and you can see him kind of even enjoying himself more. So I like this era of LeBron, and so what I saw him last night of just kind of, and look, Luka had it going. Luka had it going for real. Luka was cooking them.
He was,
but when he hit that first three, they're like, all right, you got it. And everybody knew what time it was. And that was, and look, they got DeAndre Ayton playing ball. But I'm going to go back, and we'll get back to the main topic. What we talked about with Austin Reeves, when he has to deal with athletic wings, he's a different player. He had some spotty moments, some good moments. But when they had Grimes, VJ, Maxey on him, even PG had some time on him, he was not that same player.
Yeah, to your point, the fluidity goes away. And, you study film, and I just feel like in those moments, you got to keep running him off screens. You got to free him up. You can't get him isolated on the island because he's going to struggle. He does have a handle and gives you a certain amount of wiggle, but it only works against certain type of guys. And I feel like, what we're seeing with Austin Reeves is that he can be free and do his thing. However, at times, he may not be the person you want with the ball if he can't get off efficiently. And I feel like I want more from Marcus Smart. Where has I guess is there no minutes for Bronny? I like to see Bronny out there, especially in a moment like that. It would have been nice to see, Bronny in the corner, waiting for LeBron, pass and knocking down, but it didn't happen. But either way, they got the win, and I think to your point, I think they showed that they can be a playoff team, and the game felt like a playoff tempo, and
It
that's the
did.
difference sometimes. When the playoffs will really expose you. Can you defend your position? Can you be poised? Can you make the two-hand chest pass, or is everything a no look? I mean, you got to be disciplined, and I think we got a glimpse of what the playoffs is gonna be like.
Yeah, and I felt that on the other side, the Sixers weren't disciplined. I felt
Yeah,
Maxi and they took bad shots on the stretch. Like they were
yeah,
down by one, and Maxi's pulling up by a Steph Curry type 3-pointer, which was
yeah.
a bad shot. He had Austin Reeves on one, and he just settled for a jump shot. Like get to the
Get to
game
the
was
cup.
close. The game was there. Like they were kind of in it,
Hmm.
and and you would hope that somebody on that team, like you would think Embiid, Paul George, or somebody would have said, "Hey, slow it
Yeah,
down, young man. Let's counter you.
yeah,
Listen, this is your game." I think he had like 30 plus points last night. This is your
hmm,
game, but look, we need good possessions.
yeah, yeah. That's
Look,
that. Yeah,
I expect VJ to do because because he's a rookie, but Maxi, like someone has to be the adult.
yeah,
There you go. All right. Somebody has to be the adult.
yeah.
And nobody was. Embiid really, like just what you were saying, Embiid just looks like a shell of himself.
He does.
He looks like he just struggling up and down the court. But
Hmm.
we'll see. I
Hmm.
mean, again, the Lakers, they've got an NBA Cup game in a couple of nights. Well, tomorrow we'll get to that later, but
Hmm.
they are gonna be interesting to watch this year.
Yeah, yeah, they will be. They will be. And it's funny too, like that Philly team. Like, what veterans do they have? I remember you go back to that game with McQueen from the Pelicans. He
Mhm.
had a game. I think he just had a big game, and he was sitting down talking to reporters. And DeAndre Jordan was like, "Queen,
Yeah.
stand up. Queen, stand up."
Hmm.
And I asked myself, that Philly team, Joel and PG-13, they're veterans by tenure, but they're not really those vets that's gonna kind of like be talking and getting guys amped up. So that Philly
Right.
team, it's time to blow it up. But that's another day.
Yeah, you need a vet. You need a DeAndre Jordan type vet, a Udonis Haslam vet,
Yeah,
not a vet that's there to play, but a vet
yeah,
that's there to guide.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
absolutely right.
absolutely.
You're absolutely right. But speaking of the Pelicans, man, this organization, I'm not, I don't know what to say. New Orleans is a great city. People love me in New Orleans. The team has had stars. They've had Bradley Zion being out of the lineup, but they
Hmm.
had Brandon Ingram, they had Anthony Davis for a while. They've
Hmm.
had these stars, but they cannot keep their fans interested. And so, this could be just a Southern thing, outside of Florida, where it's hard to keep fans interested into the
Hmm.
NBA,
Hmm.
because sometimes the Hawks, they have problems with attendance also,
Yeah.
Hornets also. But one thing in common, all three of those franchises have not had winners,
Hmm. Hmm.
and those
Hmm.
franchises are winning franchises. So
Hmm.
the fact that they were coupon codes to give away free seats, and they still couldn't put people in the building. Like, what does that say to you?
Man, that shows you that they're on the radar for a team potentially that may need to move, but just something you need a resurgence. And I think it's gonna start with just cleaning the cupboard. Zion gotta go. Gotta go. Gotta blow it up. I think they're not. And on top of they've had some bad luck with injuries too. They have some good pieces. I think bringing in C.J. McCollum was good, but yet overall they're just a team that's just they lost Brandon Ingram. They just don't really have an identity. And I think it's just time to blow it up. I think when you getting fans getting free tickets and still don't want to attend, that's like a bad movie script. It's like
It
watching,
is.
so it's just I think it's just time to blow it up. And it's just I can't pinpoint and put my finger on one thing to blame. I know they missed the mark with the Zion Williamson experiment. Had
Yeah,
he maybe turned out to be the guy that you thought he was going to be, you wouldn't be in this state. But now, you can't cry over spilled milk. It's just time to let it cut corners.
I agree. And look, they set up his contract where they can kind of get out of it fairly,
Hmm.
without too much drama.
Yeah,
But that just shows you blowing on a lottery pick, on a high pick like that, how
yeah,
far that can set your franchise back. Like that could really set your franchise back a decade if you
yeah,
blow on it.
Yeah.
because you're pulling a lot of times to get the number one pick. You had to be terrible. That means that you don't have anybody on the roster. Then not only that, if you're going to get the number one pick, you're going to try to put people around him. So that means you're trading away your future picks because
Yeah.
you're trying to
Yeah.
put people around him. So now they did that. They got Zion. They like, we have Brandon Ingram. We have these other pieces. Let's see what's going to happen. And
Mm-hmm.
nothing. Like,
Nothing.
not even sniffing anything worth of being really competitive. Like their ownership, it's the same ownership group as the Saints. So the Saints in the later part of our lives, figured it out. Like
Mm.
early, like early in our lives, they were not.
Mm-mm.
But
Nothing.
that Benson family seem to have figured out how to kind of put competitive things. Even though the Saints now are not good, but they
Right.
knew how to. They had a stretch. They had Drew Brees, and they're like, look, we have a star. We're gonna make sure we keep a
Mm-hmm.
good team around him. And
Mm-hmm.
they have, and again, Zion hasn't done any favors for himself. He hasn't been healthy, but there's always cities, right?
Yeah.
Where these teams can move to. There's always
Yeah.
like Las Vegas. There's always going to be Seattle.
Yeah.
Like where would you like to see this team move to that you think that they can really like
Ooh.
make some noise at?
Do something,
Yeah.
man. Oh, you may have to lose. You may have to leave Louisiana. You may have to leave
Mm,
Louisiana and venture off down. I like to see it maybe down in Florida, somewhere in Florida. Another major city outside of Miami is Tampa.
yeah.
Tampa. I'd love to see maybe Seattle get another shot. Dark horse. I'd love to see the Baltimore Bullets reemerge. I know you could keep that
There you
name,
go.
but dark horse. So I think there are some candidate cities, but yeah, New Orleans. They it's just time. The writing
Yeah.
is on the wall, and when you're not getting fan support, next thing you know, you're not selling tickets. Next thing you know, it's time to move.
Yeah, I think Vegas is probably. I know they're eyeing Vegas. I am. Listen, I don't know if it's just me being on my old man shit, but I just feel like just Vegas is just so much right now. They try to put in Vegas. They
Yeah.
got hockey. They got basketball now. They got football. I think the
Yeah.
baseball seems to be built in a
Yeah.
in a bit, and then it's just Vegas being Vegas in itself.
Yeah.
There's just so much there. It's like, where do you put a team like that?
Right.
That's not going to be competitive off the rip. They're going to pretty much be like an expansion team, right?
Hmm.
So you put a team like that in Vegas, I feel like you're going to have the same type of problems. Like you might be able to get more players that come to Vegas,
Hmm.
maybe,
Hmm.
but the Raiders haven't been successful with that. The Raiders
Yeah.
are still terrible. And and we will see what happens to the Oakland / Las Vegas A's when they finally get there. I mean, the hockey team has been competitive because it's hockey and that's just different. But
Hmm.
I think Seattle is the place where they need to be.
I
Bring back
feel
the
you.
Sonics,
Yeah.
bring back the Sonics. That city loved its Sonics. They love the Sonics so much that they don't even claim the Oklahoma City Thunder championship. They're like, nope, that's the Thunder.
Hmm.
I know y'all came from Seattle, but nope,
Hmm.
y'all are
Hmm.
Thunder. Like they don't even
Hmm.
they don't even claim it. They don't want nothing to do with it. Like they
Hmm.
want their team back.
Yeah.
And yeah, this just it's just sad to see a city like New Orleans not being able to kind of maintain, maintain the franchise.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah. All right, so NBA Cup knockout round starts next week. I mean, sorry, starts tomorrow. What am I talking about? Starts tomorrow, and it's crazy because like they want us to care about this NBA Cup. They really do. Like they got the marketing. They really want us to care about this NBA Cup, and I'm struggling, man.
Me
Like
too.
because it's no matter how many different ways they flip the court, it's still kind of a regular season game because there's
Yeah.
nothing like when baseball did interleague play, right? At the first
Hmm.
time. It was new because you
Hmm.
didn't see that. You didn't see
Yeah.
Yankees Dodgers in the middle of the season, right? It
Right.
was new. One of the first games is what? The Magic versus the Heat. I think they played like
Hmm.
2 weeks ago.
Hmm.
So it's like
And right. And Paolo is still out. It's just a different feel.
right. Franz
Hmm.
Wagner, I think he's going to be out now. So let's talk about. I mean, the Magic versus the Heat. That's one of the first round games tomorrow on Prime. The Magic. I
It's
mean, it's
tough.
pretty much Desmond Bain versus the Heat, I guess.
I'm glad to see Tyler Hero back. But I mean, it's tough. I feel like you said, they got the marketing, you change the floor, all that good stuff. But it's just I don't know. It's just kind of hard to kind of get the interest there. Maybe if the Thunder wasn't so dominant, maybe that would change it. Maybe if it was more, parity amongst the teams, maybe that would change it. Maybe if we had a storyline going in, but we don't, and I think it's just gonna have to play itself out. I would foresee maybe some dominant performances by a few players.
Mhm.
Maybe that'll kind of create some buzz, but I don't know. It's like low hanging fruit, but
Yeah,
I'm a savant. I'm gonna watch. But I'm not,
same,
I'm not
same.
I'm not too
So
too excited.
I'm excited about the Lakers Spurs Wednesday matchup
Yeah.
because I think that's going to be a good matchup to see where both teams really are. Because
Hmm.
even though the Spurs don't have Wemby, the Spurs have been still playing good ball.
Yeah.
Like um, Vassell, Dylan Harper, all these guys are balling right now.
Yeah.
So the Spurs are still good. I think the Thunder and Suns is going to be. Actually, let's stay with them for a second.
Hmm.
What do you like about this matchup between the Lakers and Spurs?
Lakers Spurs. I would have been nice if Wembanyama would have been present, but I do like I just love like the history amongst the matchup. I feel like
Mhm,
I love the backcourt play of the Spurs. I think they'll be formidable when it comes to like Luca and AK. I'm sorry, AR-15. I think they'll be formidable. I think pace is big too. I think they don't really have a matchup that'll slow down what the Lakers are being good at. The pick and roll starting to emerge with a bit. We talked about DeAndre Ayton being kind of active. I
mhm.
feel like their bigs there really won't slow him down. So I would expect the Lakers to win. They may not blow them out, but I think if the Lakers players are being them in terms of Luca leading the charge, AR-15 doing his thing, and Bron just kind of being that safety playmaker mode, I would expect them to beat them.
Yeah, I don't see a win for them. Honestly, I think they would have to have because the thing with this matchup is Luca's going to get his numbers. I
Hmm.
think Luca's going to have a big night. I
Yeah.
just foresee he's going to have a big night.
Hmm.
And how do you match that? Like I think Braun will probably have a 15 to 20. I
Yeah.
think AR will probably do his thing a little bit, but it's like how do you match that pace? How do you match that bulk of scoring?
Hmm.
Especially when you don't have your defensive stopper that could probably do that.
Yeah.
So I think it will be interesting because I think there is that the Spurs are very young. So I want to see how just not caring they are. Like I don't care who this
Hmm.
team is. I know you, Braun. I know you, Luka. Just that fearlessness that the youth does have.
Yeah.
That's not going to be reckless like the Sixers because they have a coach that's going to control them. So
Hmm.
I think that will be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next matchup, Thunder and Suns. Look, the Suns have somehow become a good team. They got rid of Kevin Garnett. They got Garnett. I don't know why I want to say that. They got rid of Kevin Durant, and they've gotten better.
I know, right?
They brought in some pieces, and look, no one thought they were going to be this good, but they're playing against the Thunder, and I think it's going to be fun for the first half, and then then we're going to see what then it's
Just
going to be lights
to
out.
say first half, I don't even know if it'll be first half. I think maybe first 7 minutes it might be competitive. If Devin Booker comes out being Dev and he's just ISO ball pulling, maybe he'll keep him in it. But I would expect before the first half they'll be up at least 15 at the half, and then they'll just kind of rain on them. And it's tough. I think the Suns are a team with some talent. But the
Mhm.
Thunder, man, are just so good. They got so much depth and experience with Shea leading the charge. They're tough. So they will dominate
Yeah.
them absolutely.
I think the biggest thing would be will Shea play the fourth quarter? And that's so crazy. That's even a thing that we're talking about a professional league. And the question
Yeah.
is, will they start? Will the star play the fourth quarter because they're going to be up by so much?
I
That's
don't
crazy.
think so. I don't think so. That's how good they are. What are they? 23-1, 22 and
Yeah.
1?
Yep.
No, they'll dominate
They
them.
won 15 straight games right now.
And you just got Jay Will back. Oh my goodness.
Right. So yeah.
Man.
All right. And the last matchup for the first round, Raptors Knicks, which probably has the chance to be the best game out of
Yeah.
that first round.
Yeah.
Um, The Raptors, again, probably the pleasant surprise
Hmm.
of the East. They're taking advantage. Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett. I think RJ Barrett might be hurt now.
Hmm.
But Scotty Barnes playing ball right now. the Knicks, as always, every week I get on here and complain about the Knicks because the NBA is more fun when the Knicks are good,
I know,
and
right?
the Knicks are this team they're just good enough to be not average, but not really good enough to compete. And so,
Right.
like, I kind of want them to kind of like make a decision, either
Hmm.
get good enough to compete or be terrible. But I need
Right.
you to stop being average.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And to your point with them with the Raptors not having RJ Barrett, that's big. That's big
Yeah.
because you need him. He can kind of create on his own. It's a southpaw experience. And I think not having them is such less firepower. I would expect quickly to give you his 15 to 30, so anywhere within there. He's gonna kind of get his, and then Barnes will kind of do his thing. But the Knicks, just by their depth and pieces and style of play, I think they'll give him fits. I don't really like the matchups for the Raptors in that matchup. Is OG back yet for the Knicks? I think he might.
I gotta check because
I think
OG
he might be
wasn't he
still
involved
out.
in that dust up with
I
Bane
think he.
last night?
Okay, okay. I'm wondering because I thought he might still be out as well, but I think you got Brunson leading the charge. I would expect the Knicks to beat them, and them not having RJ Barrett is a big piece.
Yeah. Oh no, he'll be in. He just got fined 35,000 for
Okay,
throwing the
okay.
ball
Yes,
at Desmond Bain last night.
yeah.
That was a
I
wild scene. That
that
was.
was right. That was wild. That was so personal. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you're right.
sheesh.
Exactly. There's probably something. There's probably something there because that. He just chucked the
Wow.
ball at him, man.
Right, right. But
All
but
right.
yeah, I would expect the Knicks to definitely beat them handily.
All right. Any predictions of who you think is going to win the NBA Cup?
Oklahoma Thunder.
Yeah.
Oklahoma Thunder. I think they will dominate. I think the only thing that really beats them right now is injury. I think,
Yeah.
other teams, they got their eyes on them and they're gonna have to make some roster changes to compete. But right now, the only thing that beats the Thunder is the Thunder.
So I'm going to give a weird one that I never thought I would do. I'm going to say the Lakers sneak in and repeat as NBA Cup champions.
Oh wow,
I
okay.
just think I think that I think that when the Lakers meet the Thunder in the second round, I I just feel that the Thunder's heart's not going to be into it. I think they're going to want to win and they're going to want to, but look, at that point they're going to be on a 16 game winning streak, right? That
Hmm.
loss has to come sometime.
Yeah.
You know, this is kind of prime time. It's kind of a prime moment for them. Close, they so it's I feel like they're gonna be ripe for it because again they've been
That's a
blowing
good
people
point.
out, and it's just when you see teams this hot, it's normally you know, you just feel like, this is kind of,
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
moment in time where they could get them.
Hmm.
And if the Lakers beat them, there's nobody in the East that can beat them. Not in this NBA Cup because I don't see the Knicks can beat them if the Knicks beat the Raptors. Definitely not the Heat.
Oh
um.
no, no.
So yeah. So if the Lakers beat the Thunder, then they might repeat champions, and then that'll be a whole other storyline we have to hear about of like, oh, LeBron won back-to-back NBA Cup championships. Another thing that Michael Jordan could not do.
Right, right,
It's gonna
right.
be that thing again. So yeah,
Yeah,
so
I'm with you, man.
yeah, I'm gonna say Lakers is gonna be my dark horse pick to win it.
We're gonna see. I hope you're right. We're gonna see.
All right, so this is gonna be a shorter show than normal. So we're gonna jump right into final thoughts. Go ahead, Kevin. I'll let you lead it off.
Final thoughts, man. It's so funny. This is a whole podcast is sitting around basketball, but what's trending right now? Diddy and Netflix. So I'm eager to see how that kind of like pans out. Kind of got my eye on it. I'm eager to see, what's happening with John Morant, what's happening with LaMelo Ball, what's happening with Kyrie Irving. It's just so many storylines, and I'm just eager to kind of get to it. I want to see what's gonna happen. But until then, we're still seeing some good basketball, still kind of seeing the same things. And lastly, what's going to happen with this Greek? Will he get traded? What happens there? So I just got my eye out.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Actually, that's a good point. We may need to add a culture segment, and we might have when J Money returns because J Money is out doing his Bobby Brown thing. He thinks he's bigger than
Hmm.
the team, so he's But we're gonna have to maybe do a culture segment. We all gonna have to watch the Daily Doc and then come back and talk about it because
I'm
that
down.
yeah. So my final thoughts are me and my siblings, we have this thing where we're all into Prince, and for most
Okay.
people, people think that Purple Rain is his best album, And my hot take is that
Okay.
it's not. It's not his best album. And his best album is the album called Parade. And I got pelted online by lots of people about that, but I don't care. I'm standing on my own too. I'm a
I
man.
understand.
Parade is Prince's best album. And that's my final thoughts. Now, I don't care what y'all think about it.
drop
All right.
drop
So
the
that,
mic.
exactly. So on that note, that's Kev from Ohio. I'm B-Moore, brought to you by Southern Edge Beverage Company. This is a Tribe Called Swish. Peace.
Peace.